Welcome to this eternal now moment. This is all about the now, and it's all about being in your heart. So take this now moment and come into your center, into a supreme awareness of you, your energy. Taking a full deep breath. Breath is spirit. You're listening to the frequency of 39.17 hertz, the God frequency. Breathe this in as you come into your heart. Close your eyes. Feel this resonance come into your being. This now moment is 0 point. Your vibration in this now moment is a creation point. Be here now. We are joined by the dolphins on this journey who remind us of our joy. Feel your joy within. Allow the dolphins to raise your vibration into joy. And so we surrender. Here we surrender our worries, our judgment of others, our fears about world events, our fear about health. Surrender in this now moment to you, your higher self. Allow your heart energy to expand throughout your body. Know that all is well. This is your vibration to create the patterns of perfection for new earth. At this time in the collective, polarization is amplified as old patterns of distortion and miscreation are being purged. The key is to stay centered within. Stay anchored in your heart space. Your mission is to develop unity consciousness. Unity consciousness within yourself, your family, your community, and all life.
When a spiritual person is challenged with change, it's always a time to step back, I think, and go back and meditate, find out what's inside, and connect again to the higher being, which is your soul. Speak with your master guides. They're here 24/7 for you. And some people I'm hearing don't really know about your guides, and maybe that's part of the reason I'm here, is to introduce you to them.
Laurie Reyon is an interspecies communicator, sharing wisdom from higher realms for the evolution of humanity. She's been named Standing Whale Mother by Native Americans, and she brings the wisdom and healing energies of whales and dolphins to humanity. She is guided by spirit and the energy of Master Cat Puddah. Laurie says it's important to observe but not judge, and to develop your inner wisdom, your inner voice, your inner knowingness, and your inner sight.
When you activate the gifts that God has given you, and that includes the energy of, I'm going to say, clairsentience and clairaudience for most of us, which is clear feeling and clear hearing. Okay, some of you also have the clairvoyance, which is clear seeing. I encourage you to work more with hearing, because you can do that anywhere on the planet, right? You can hear what they're saying because they're with you. There's an energy of seeking now, of energy of unity balance, an energy of what science is calling 0 point, that I would like to see everybody just make that a spiritual priority for you to find that frequency first thing in the morning, and that means connecting to nature. It means telling everyone in your family that, I need my 15, 20 minutes. I need to connect. I need to listen, and I need to ask my questions, because everybody wakes up with some kind of question about, would it be best for me to go here or best for me to go there, to make a phone call? And if you sit quietly, the answer will come. Your guides will give it to you. Your higher self will give it to you. Your animals will give it to you. Animals know everything all the time. People don't know that, but they do. They're scanning you all the time, and they're in stewardship basically to support your vibration, your cause, your mission.
For our collective, the mission is unity consciousness and a powerful awareness of staying centered, anchored in the heart, in the face of everything.
I don't think we're going to create a new vibration to live in, the new earth, if you will, by joining in any kind of negativity. We have to trust that the heart is the way home. Seth says love is all there is. So if it isn't loving, we shouldn't be listening to it. We shouldn't be talking about it. We shouldn't be writing emails about it. And we're not to coerce other people to your opinion. The truth should prevail in all situations. What my truth is may not be your truth, because we're here to do different things, right? I know I'm powerful, and if I would join in anything that's negative or condescending or manipulative, then I would create that. And then I'd have to deal with that karma. We have to go back and look in the mirror and say, what kind of world do we want to create? Even if it's just you in the moment doing it, others will come. Master Seth said, imagine yourself walking down the street and here comes an angry mob. They're running towards you. So what are you going to do? Are you going to turn around and join the mob and go with them? Or are you just going to keep walking peacefully, keeping your eyes down and go through the mob? More people will change by watching you not react than they would if they kept on rioting. The coherence of the love that you're holding as you walk through that angry mob will cause a lot of distraction, and people maybe to think again about what do they know that I don't know,
In this episode of The Now Show, we'll meet Laurie Reyon, who offers a technique to develop your third eye in heart connection so you can communicate with your higher self, animals, and all life. We begin this now conversation with Laurie Reyon. We are in this present moment of the now. This is the Now Show. It's all about the now. It's all about the heart. I'm here with Laurie Reyon. Laurie is a very beautiful soul. Her gifts allow her to speak to the animals and the angels as she translates their messages for humanity. Laurie, I want to tap into you. Here we are with this ability now to tune in to the angelic realm even more, to tune into our higher self even more, and with what's going on in the outer world and the attention that can be given to the news events. Can you share with us advice that you have for this time in regards to how we keep ourselves clean?
Right. Well, in my world, and I think in many of you, we've just reached the end of the road, or the rope, if you will, where we're living in judgment or in duality, where there's a positive and a negative, and we're encouraged to make a choice. And of course, not really even being able to own that choice, because we'll never know the fullness of the truth of another soul. The only soul you'll ever really know the fullness of what's about is you. And that's only by going into your heart. So I always instruct people to stay in your heart and to make loving choices that affect your personal life, and to stay out of making choices that you don't really have an idea of what's going on. And that certainly is reflective of what we're seeing on the news. If you tune into the news, and I'm not telling you not to, I'm telling you to stay in an observational mode as opposed to being sucked into every word you're hearing being truth. Yeah. So 2020 has been a year, we've really been stretched to go within to find the truth, because there's so many different opinions, just starting with the pandemic. It's been a time of great change. And when a spiritual person is challenged with change, it's always a time to step back, I think, and go back and meditate, find out what's inside, and connect again to the higher being, which is your soul. Speak with your master guides. They're here 24/7 for you. And some people I'm hearing don't really know about your guides, and maybe that's part of the reason I'm here, is to introduce you to them. When you activate the gifts that God has given you, and that includes the energy of, I'm going to say, clairsentience and clairaudience for most of us, which is clear feeling, and clear hearing. Okay, some of you also have the clairvoyance, which is clear seeing, but that would be limited, of course, to what you can see in your physical surroundings that are here in the now. So I encourage you to work more with hearing, because you can do that anywhere on the planet, right? You can hear what they're saying because they're with you. So there's an energy of seeking now, of energy of unity, balance, and energy of what science is calling 0 point, that I would like to see everybody just make that a spiritual priority for you to find that frequency first thing in the morning, and that means connecting to nature. It means telling everyone in your family that, I need my 15, 20 minutes. I need to connect. I need to listen, and I need to ask my questions, because everybody wakes up with some kind of question about, would it be best for me to go here or best for me to go there, to make a phone call? And if you sit quietly, the answer will come. Your guides will give it to you. Your higher self will give it to you. Your animals will give it to you. Animals know everything all the time. People don't know that, but they do. They're scanning you all the time, and they're in stewardship basically to support your vibration, your cause, your mission. And so they'll do everything they can from just being around you to support that, because they don't have any filters like we do. They don't have any amnesia. They come in born knowing exactly who they are and what they're here to do. So isn't that nice that we have that support?
As we're aware of our own energy, we can see the animals being mirrors of us. For an example, we have been checking out the news, and it's wild because I have pretty much, as a news person myself, distanced myself from the news, but at times there's instances where we need to be aware. And so,
and you need to observe. I mean, it's good to know what's going on, but it's not good to take a side or have an opinion or a judgment of any kind, because even if you're there doing whatever it is people have been doing as far as riding and all, that's their choice. And, it's hard to say, but if you judge them, you're joining them.
Exactly.
And your vibration has seriously dropped.
Yes.
Is it worth it? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think we're going to create a new vibration to live in, the new earth, if you will, by joining in any kind of negativity. We have to trust that the heart is the way home. I was looking at different channels, to just kind of prepare for what might come up today. And I looked back to a channel that we did quite a few years ago with Seth. And Seth says love is all there is in the channel in a myriad of different ways. So if it isn't loving, we shouldn't be listening to it. We shouldn't be talking about it. We shouldn't be writing emails about it. And we're not to coerce other people to your opinion. The truth should prevail in all situations. And what my truth is may not be your truth, because we're here to do different things, right? And so what comes through for some people might appear maybe really, airy-fairy or maybe too positive or Pollyanna. I've been called the Pollyanna channel. Absolutely, I am. Yeah. If it isn't positive and loving, I don't want to look at it, because that's not part of the world I want to create. I believe in the law of attraction, and what we think and we feel, we bring right into form. So I know I'm powerful. And if I would join in anything that's negative or condescending or manipulative, then I would create that. And then I'd have to deal with that karma. So yeah, we have to go back and look in the mirror and say, what kind of world do we want to create? Even if it's just you in the moment doing it, others will come. We talked about, I think, another show we did where Master Seth said, imagine yourself walking down the street and here comes an angry mob. They're running towards you. So what are you going to do? Are you going to turn around and join the mob and go with them? Or are you just going to keep walking peacefully, keeping your eyes down and go through the mob? More people will change by watching you not react than they would if they kept on rioting. Isn't that
Yes.
interesting? That the coherence of the love that you're holding as you walk through that angry mob will cause a lot of distraction and people maybe to think again about what do they know that I don't know, you know?
It's like watching a flight attendant on the airplane. The
Yeah,
calm, right, of
yeah,
the flight attendant gives
yeah.
you calm. That is really the way forward. So thank you for those beautiful reminders. On the upside, as I do peer into it, yes, that word, the last judgment, or dropping all judgment, that's very key. And I was saying that I noticed my dog even getting up and needing to go outside away from the energy in the room from the news. And so that's when we decided, let's turn this off, let's shift it. So it's very important that we're aware of that energy.
Right,
And I love it. Thank you.
right.
Yeah.
And the positive side of all of it is that people want change. They just want change. They don't even know what it is or how to describe it. But someone that would go to the lengths that what we've seen on the news, these are people that are really hungry for change. And whether they believe it or not, they want to find their way into their hearts. They want to find a way to love, um, and a way to feel represented in who they are, you know? And unfortunately, I think our parties don't do much for that. But, you know, an opportunity for someone to feel heard or expressed is very powerful. And if we can talk them into doing it in a positive way, that's a good day, isn't it? Because everyone wants to be heard. Here's a little quote from Seth. Seth said this week, "How do you help turn a soulless world into a sacred world?" It's a good question, isn't it? A soulless world into a sacred world. She says, treat everyone as if they are sacred until they see the sacred in them and remember it's true. So we hold the space for them and they'll come around. You know, she's always said that all the flowers in the field don't bloom on the same day. So,
It's true.
mhm.
And I look for words that are being spoken, and we look at some of the good words, high vibrational words from our elected leaders, and we are beginning to hear that rationale. And that to me is a good sign. It opens up dialogue.
Yeah,
When we allow others to be heard, that is diplomacy. And that's where we're at right now. So this neutrality is really beautiful. And I love you for sharing that, Laurie.
yeah.
Let's talk about higher self connection
Okay.
and channeling our higher self. Are there some ways or protocol that you can offer for people to begin to connect with that higher self and channel?
Well, the higher self to me is the soul. It's the part of you that's eternal. It's immortal. It has no beginning. It has no end. It's a piece of God, if you will. That you would be a divine embodiment of source energy, and the soul comes um, to the planet with the body that's incarnating. And there's always hope that this will happen. There'll be a meld, right? That the person that's being born and the incarnation will have a very high vibration. And, you know, in many ways will choose too when they get to be a certain, I don't know. Can you remember back when you were maybe like 12 years old and you were starting to make decisions for yourself? Were you introduced to God at that point, or did you have an opinion about God? I think that's the first point where I would try to reach um, kids 10, 11, 12 years old that already have an idea of what God is and perhaps have been taught at some level some type of religious process, or maybe they just have a sense of God. You know, a lot of kids I've talked to see God in the animals. And so I remember having an indigo class and online, a little boy in Colorado, he sat there and we did a meditation with Puddah. And when the meditation was over, he was already typing in, I want to talk, I want to talk, I want to talk. And so I gave him the floor, you know, and he said, I have to ask Puddah a question. And I said, okay. And he asked Puddah, he said, Puddah, are you God? And she said, yes, I am, but so are you. And he goes, I get it. So they need to be told that. They need to be told they're holding these codes of creation that bring the divinity to the planet, that allow us to do good works, you know, do good things with our lives, to be happy and positive and loving to each other, and find some path that brings us to the word service, where we're doing something with our lives that benefits the greater good. And kids get that. They get like, you mean go clean up the park and stuff? And I'm like, yeah, that's one way, right? Or go help serve food at the homeless shelter. Yeah, that's another way. I mean, they get it. They get it right away. And they get in that moment connected to their higher self, where they can visualize themselves growing up and doing great things, even outside of a family that would be dysfunctional. So that's where it starts, I think. And then when we go older, then there's this energy that comes in like this, right? This is this part of duality where you make a choice. And I would say it comes to the word intention or it comes to the word prayer. And they're basically the same word. And that you decide that you want to be empowered now. You want the help of your soul. You want to know yourself as divinity embodied. You want to feel the worth that comes with being a divine child, with the gifts that Creator has given us all. And then observation can come in, and you can see people that have great gifts. You can see people that have clear sight, that have intuition that's working, and they make positive, wise decisions that affect the planet. People may be in power that are doing good works, that are speaking for the good of the many, as opposed to the good of the one. And we can come to making a decision is that I want to be like that. So then I think the next step for an adult is to find out physically how that works. Because in your body, none of this is going to work if you're not in your heart. It's all about a deep sense of worth, a deep sense of, I'm going to use the word self-love. If you don't see the God within you, the part of you that's the eternal soul, then you're not going to be able to claim these higher gifts like clear sight and clear hearing. And when people meet me, they say, well, how did you become telepathic? And I'm going to say, well, I know I was as a child because I have so many memories of sitting in like an apple orchard in Nebraska where I grew up. And my horse is just grazing next to me and my dog is with me. And then I'd go back to my house, my little house in town where we lived, and my cats would come running out and I could hear them. I could hear them saying, oh, I'm home, Laurie's home, come out and talk to her. And so I knew that the telepathy was real with the dogs, the cats, and the horses first. And then it occurred to me later, as I got older, I had a way with horses. Horses would come to me and I never would kick them or, ask them to put a saddle on and ride them if they weren't ready. I always asked them, do you want someone to ride you when you're like 2 years old? Do you want to be in the horse show and, that kind of thing. And some would say yes and some would say no, but I would always be able to work with them based on a level of permission that they would give me to work with them. Does that make sense? There would be a level of where we would agree to work together. So then I would watch the cowboys, again, Nebraska, and horse trainers, so to speak, and they would break the horse. And this was usually done with whips and spurs and, pretty much negative things that they would do to the horse to make the horse submit. And so I would say to them, why don't you just talk to the horse? And of course, they'd look at me like I'm stupid. So I never really made that connection until I was later in my 20s, that everybody doesn't have it. Because when you're a kid, you think everybody's like you. So I thought everybody could talk to animals, and maybe they just didn't make the time or they didn't want to. I know my parents were happy that I had animals, but they weren't nowhere near in the same vibration as I was, as the love I had for them, the huge part of my life that was all about animals. That was my path. And so they supported it, but I know they didn't understand it, not really. If I went in the house and told my mom I'm talking to my horse, she'd say, that's nice, honey. She would not tell me it was wrong, but she wouldn't come out and go, oh, what's the horse saying, So
yeah, so she didn't judge you, but maybe she didn't take you too seriously.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if everything children say to their parents are completely understood, but from the kids' point of view, how many kids come in and say there's somebody under the bed or somebody in the closet, Well, wouldn't you? I now know that those kids have elevated their vibration to be able to communicate with another being that's etheric, They're just as real as you and I are. Some are positive, some are negative, but they're there and the kids know it. So anyway, what I'm saying is all of that part of me that what I was born with already being activated really worked well until I went to veterinary school. And then it shut down because I was back in the analytical world and where you're being tested, and it's a mind world, analytical world. So if you're in that world where you're thinking and you're being told to think and you're being told you have to study and be smart, you're not going to activate your gifts. No, you're going to go round and round and round in the analytical world, which in my world is crash and burn. Basically, it will lead you down a road that will not make you happy. All the knowledge in the world will never replace what your heart can give you in 1 minute. Does that make sense? You can come back to the heart. So another example of that is I can remember being about a sophomore or junior in school, and I was really competitive. So I really wanted the good grades. I'm not sure why, but I was. I just had to have the good grades. but I didn't want to study. so I remember taking those tests with the little circles, multiple choice, and I asked my guides. I just called them my friends. What's the right answer? And then they would tell me. So I mostly didn't even read the questions. I just filled in the little circles. And I guess I thought maybe other people were doing that too, but maybe they weren't. I don't know. But so that was another example of being telepathic, and maybe not using it for my highest and best good. I probably should have studied a little more. But
it's interesting that you've always had that connection, then you trusted it. Was
yeah,
there ever a time where you didn't trust it? How did you know? You just had a knowing.
yeah. Well, I did get married when I was 18, and it was pretty miserable. I was going to college, and I was at school, and it was an unsuccessful marriage. He was very abusive, and of course, we all co-create everything. I'm not taking all the blame, but I could have got out and left, and I didn't. I stayed. He convinced me that I had the belief system that marriage is forever, and that
Mm.
along the lines, I started to believe it was my fault that I was making him this angry, and anyway, I kind of went down with the ship. So it took me a while to get my gifts back after I finally did leave him. I was 23, and then it got good again. It didn't take that long to get back to it, because I remember talking to my cat in the car about it, and I don't remember talking to my cat when we lived together when I was married. I remember loving her, but I don't remember talking to her. So what I'm trying to say is these gifts that are God given, which would be clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, claircognizance, um, bilocation, time travel, all of these gifts that we have are not necessarily accessed because we're not in our heart. And then the second thing is we haven't activated the pineal gland, which is the third eye. So the heart connection to the third eye, and then focus to whoever, whatever you want to speak to or work with. Let's say Master Puddah, and she's right here. Then that focus creates a triangulation because they will respond to you, and then that energy will start to activate the third eye. And for many people, it's got like calcium around it. It's a kind of corroded, I guess is the word. So we have to decalcify it because of the food and water. And one of the ways to do that is organic sulfur. Another way is just through intention too, to start to use it. And it's like any organ or muscle, it will grow, it will get larger and become more effective. Sometimes when I go to a conference or a convention and the speaker is enlightened, they'll call on me and they'll say, here's a person with a very large pineal gland. And I'm like, oh, okay. They see it because they can see. So it's not like it's hidden. It's like anybody that has clear sight can see my third eye, or can see, that I can see theirs. So that makes it kind of fun. And we can do something together.
So for those who are new at that and they want to expand their third eye connection, you mentioned that triangulation. Can we do a little practice and
Sure.
take us through that short process?
Okay, so everybody, well, first of all, let's bring all of our energy out of our minds into our hearts. Okay, and one of the ways to do that is a very simple process, and it comes from the Tibetans, actually, the monks. Says you bring your consciousness out of the back of your head, and you arc it into the body between the shoulder blades in the back, and come right into the heart chamber, the physical heart chamber. So it's like boom, okay, from the arc. So everybody do that a few times. Bring your energy into your mind and arc it into the heart. Should start to feel really warm and soothing, and then for people maybe that haven't been in their hearts, it might hurt a little bit because the heart has to open up. I've had people say that you make my heart hurt. I said, well, that's good because it has to open. We have to get it to blossom. So feel that energy now in your heart, and this is where what I call solution energy lives. Okay, so anything that you ever want to know or do or be is here in the heart. Your heart is a wealth of information, and it directly ties you to your soul or your higher self. And of course, it's meant to open you to all levels of communication. All right. So now that we're in our heart, we're going to bring that energy with consciousness up the Prana Tube. And if you want to open your eyes for a minute, your Prana Tube looks like this. So you put your middle finger and your thumb together, and you're going to fill the Prana Tube with light from the earth. So ground yourself into the earth, and immediately the earth responds and sends prana up the Prana Tube. And this goes all the way up through the heart, through the throat, through the third eye, through the crown chakra, and upward. But we're just going to bring the prana up to the pineal gland, which is located between the two halves of your brain. And it's a very small organ, but perhaps the most powerful organ that you have. It's a spirit communication device, is what Puddah calls it. It allows you to speak to God, to Mother Earth, to your higher self, to your spirit guides, to the animals, and to each other if the other human is open to it. Okay, so now that the energy is running from the earth, up your body, up through your heart, and all the way up to the third eye. I like to think of like a fountain, one of those big fountains, and your third eye is floating on top. And it's being energized with earth light. And then it's also being energized if you open your crown chakra with source light that comes to us from the sun. So it's receiving a balance of male and female energy, and you're asking it now to be effective and to grow and to serve you well. So in its natural state, it's looking upwards. It's an actual color receptor. It's an actual eyeball. Part of the pineal gland looks like a pine cone, but there is a color receptor. So the eye part, you want to ask it to move forward like this, like go from here to that. So it's looking forward, and it's right between the eyebrows. And so it becomes like a focus light. And one of the best ways to activate it is, in your personal time, work with a blindfold or work in a completely darkened room. Because if you shut out the physical light, the third eye will activate its light, which is inner light. That's what you want. So right now we're going to rotate the third eye forward the best we can, and we're going to beam it into, you choose, maybe one of your dogs or cats, maybe one of your spirit guides. You can use Puddah if you like, and see if you can receive some communication, validation that they're receiving it. So Puddah's volunteering. So send your third eye light forward now to whoever you choose. And be with that for a moment. Now sense and feel the energy coming from the being that you contacted back to you from them. Let's say they're right here. They'll send their light back to your heart. It won't come to the third eye. It comes to the heart. You should feel it. It should feel warm. So if I was you, I immediately would turn that energy back up again and bring it up through the prana, up to my third eye, make sure my third eye is rotated forward, and beam it forward. So we get this triangulation of energy going, okay, from the heart to the third eye to the being you're communicating with, and they send it back to your heart. You feel that triangle? And now you're stepping out of duality. You're stepping out of linear time into a true communication that nothing would stop this now or be between you and that. It's completely authentic and pure. And I'll let you see Puddah again if you're communicating with her. Nice. What happened for you, Lauren? I think you're muted.
Well, that was beautiful because I chose to tune into Puddah and feeling in the heart, and then looking back at Puddah. It was hard to come up with the words, but it was there was a no nonsense feeling. I don't want to say seriousness, but it was, then the second time I looked, it was very peaceful. It was peace, just very peaceful and calm, nice. As if nothing is to worry. There's no worry.
That's a very good description of her. She just does. She holds this inner peace. Yeah. Always.
So, tips for translating what we get into words or journaling it.
Yeah, I think journaling is a really good way. We call it automatic writing, where you just trust that once you pick up the pencil or the pen, the being that you're communicating with, whether it be an animal or a guide, an angel, they will use your hand to help you write something effective that's very loving. You have to trust that. You have to also, some of you won't even need to write. I mean, you might want to, but you just start getting the information that's coming through. So maybe we could try it one more time for a minute, and we could this time either identify the same being or another one, and this time ask a question so that you can be with information that's coming back to you. Okay. So the goal is heart light always, right? Heart light that's grounded, bringing it up to the third eye, learning to operate the third eye and trust that it's real, it's effective, and rotating it forward. And now beaming it into, how about if we all contact one of our three master guides? And we can talk about that after. But trust that one of them will step right here in front of you. And as you beam your third eye into them, you ask them a question, and then they'll come back through the heart. And then you can let that energy run for a little bit. Maybe ask another question or just be with it so you can feel their energy. And then let's see how many people get some kind of answer to their question. Does that sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So 3 very powerful eternal beings have asked to come to Earth to be with you. And they're with you 24/7. True, people say, do guides change? Yes, occasionally they do. Occasionally one will leave and a new one will come that will better serve you in your state of evolution at that time, or your acceleration of spirit knowingness. But let the guides choose which one will come to be in front of you now. Don't you choose. And then just you need to ask them, though. You need to ask them to come and stand before you and open their hearts and communicate. They're going to be thrilled. This is what they want. Okay, so let's all ground again, go down into the earth, anchor your light. Take a deep breath and bring the energy of the earth all the way up to the heart, allowing that energy of compassion and love to fill your heart. And now bringing it up the Prana Tube, which is like this big. Bring it up, up, up through the throat, up to the third eye. And I want you to visualize that fountain again. It's like floating on a big erupting fountain of prana. Okay, now you're taking control by rotating it forward and focusing with great intention now, focusing on your master guide. If you know their name, go ahead and call out their name so that it further identifies them. So I'm going to say, for me, my master guide is Sophia. And there she is. She's beaming her light back into my heart. And you keep the triangle going from the heart to the third eye to the guide. And when you're ready, I'm going to be quiet in a minute so you can do your process. Ask a question that's, not a complicated question, just a simple one, just to demonstrate that you can hear and receive. Or put your pencil on a piece of paper and see what comes out. Let your hand write automatically. Okay, take it away. Okay, that was very short, I realize, but come back now and process what just happened. Number one, maybe you weren't able to do this in its fullness yet, but at least you now have the process to practice. Maybe you just were so surprised with how easy it is and how nice it was to communicate with your guide, or in the first time around with Puddah. She's really easy to talk to. Or maybe you're just starting to write like Shakespeare now. The profundity of all is flowing through you. This higher guidance and wisdom is just opened up and it's coming in. Because when it comes in, it does. People always ask me about when I channel the whales. It's like when they say, "Will you channel?" and I sit down, I have no idea what's going to happen. I can't get. I mean, I don't contact them; they contact me, and then I agree to do it. And it's just when it flows, it's powerful. It feels good. So this is a little bit like that. What happened for you, Laurie?
I want to reiterate what you said there, where it feels powerful, it feels good. That is a key indicator. And again, another reason why I too suggest that we write it down. When we write it down and time passes and we return to look back at what we've seen or what we've written, those words are something that actually amazes us that we said that. And it's not us, it's our higher self or the beings that are assisting us. So I got a message, and it was a simple message. um, to the answer to my question is, what do I need to know for my highest good? And I got, and I believe I was feeling about like stepping up in a service role even more. And I got, your divine essence is the magnet to attract. Stay here in awareness. This is the roadmap. And that
Well,
was it. It was pretty short.
that's profound, don't you think?
The divine essence is
Yeah.
the magnet.
You like it, huh? Look at this. Goes, I like that message. I like that message. Go the red.
So for those in our audience, if you want to share, that would be beautiful. We're
Yeah.
going to take a moment in just a moment and bring everyone into a fun after party with Laurie. Thank you so much for that, Laurie. Again, um, the writing it down is important as well, because this is almost like a dream where we're conscious of it, but in a day or two, we may forget what that is,
Mm-hmm.
right? So,
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a day-to-day thing to be focused on this spirit communication, but it's vital, I think, in your evolution. Um, Puddah calls it intentional evolution, where you intend to evolve, you intend to be able to communicate uh, with the heart light of other beings, and the communications that are so authentic in your lives. You know, we all need that support too, where the beings that just love you unconditionally can tell you that, and you can hear it. And you can go, "Oh, that's right. I remember. I'm a divine being." Because somebody just yelled at me and hurt my feelings. And that you go past that. Where you become neutral to any kind of negativity.
mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really key. And so I love the heart connection. That heart connection, the information won't won't do you wrong because it's that heart connection, right?
Right. The heart is only love, and a direct translator to the words that love is all there is. If you're hearing loving words and thoughts and receiving loving guidance, you're in your heart, and that's where you want to be. And I think the goal is to be there 24/7, out, to step completely out of 3D, so that we can be neutral to. We're in 3D, but we're neutral to it. We're not having any judgments. We're not being coerced. We're not being manipulative. We're here holding the coherence of love for others, as an example. That's my goal, and then always then to be listening to how I can better serve. There's, because I'm telepathic, I could be riding in the car with Puddah going down the street, and let's say there's a homeless person, and Puddah tunes in and she says we should go get a hamburger for this guy, and so we will. She doesn't, very often we give them money, but get them some food, or other people that we tune into going down the street. She's like, I don't think we can reach that one, so just keep going. I mean, she knows. It's like, if we thought we could make a difference, then that's great to spend some time trying to help that person or that group. But if they're really shut down, that's their free will. Then maybe we're not the ones to help them, but we can direct them towards a place to sleep, or a place to get involved in a class, or even a church group, something where they have a positive influence in their life. But it's not coming directly from you, because we're just one person, right? So just never doubt your ability to reach out and help someone if you're guided to. And
Yeah, that brings up a very good point to the judgment that the ego mind might have on
right,
looking out at the world, but using this technique to tune in through that heart space will actually give us that information of where we can help, right?
right, right,
Mhm.
right, absolutely. So
And
your
so,
time becomes more valuable because you're
mm,
listening to where you can make a difference, you know.
yes, that's the important step, where we can make a difference, where it will be received.
Yeah.
So when we're doing this and can you share a little bit about consistency and how that actually strengthens or widens the broadband of that information?
Well, in my world, it's teaching over and over the simplicity of what it's like to train yourself. And I'm going to say retrain because, our society and our parents, our culture hasn't taught us how to be in the heart. So in my world, I had to be retrained. And that happened in a very physical way when I studied the flower of life work and I decided to activate my Merkaba, which is the living light field. And those things might intrigue you too. And if so, contact me and I'll help you. But the point is, you reach a certain point where change becomes vital in you holding the vibration that you're currently holding, and you decide that that's important. It's almost like throwing yourself in the mud. And I'm not saying mud is bad. I'm saying before you do that, you're going to have to think through, well, how long can I play in the mud? And then I got to go take a shower. I got to wash my clothes. I have to wash my hair. There's a whole process that comes after playing in the mud. So it's just an example. Okay. I don't mean that mud is bad, but the point is you're holding a vibration that you pretty much want to keep in the morning and then lift it up even more. So you train yourself to go into what I call a unity breath meditation. And it you can do it in like 8 to 10 minutes. And it's basically grounding yourself, sitting hopefully outside in nature where you're privately, receiving, sunlight, and there's something pretty to look at that's natural, maybe some flowers and trees. That would be ideal. And you put your feet on the ground and you ask to receive the blessings of Mother Earth, and she'll send them to you. You ground down into the earth and she blesses you. And you bring that energy of compassion and love that only Mother Earth has up into your heart. And then you send your energy up through the crown chakra to the sun, as the sun is the portal or gateway for source light to come. And source light starts to pour down into you because you've given permission. It comes into your heart. And then they mix the mother and the father energy, which are your true parents. Mother Gaia and Prime Creator are your true parents. And that energy mixes in your heart. And the third energy that comes in then is the soul, which is connected to you through your heart. So you have Mother Earth, Father, Son, and the seed of the soul. And now you have triangulated your whole body into 0 point energy. And 0 point energy it's neutrality. It's where you step out of the hologram and you realize that everything that you're pretty much looking at is an illusion. That the only thing is real is love. Okay, and you're feeling that in your heart now. So as you stand up and you move about your day, you are triangulated and you've calibrated the light that you're carrying to what science would call 0 point, which is this underlying principle of complete neutrality, where nothing would rock your boat. Nothing. Not a war, not an argument, nothing. Because it's not yours. You're just owning your own power, your own divinity, and you're communing with the true mother and father energy, which is not the biological parents, but your spirit parents, which is the earth herself and then the sun. So that would be, if everyone would do that every day, and I don't mean some days, I mean every day, then the world would change because we'd all be holding our own vibration and we'd be responsible for it. And then the second thing for me would be to teach you how to put an energetic grid or an angelic grid even around your house so that you feel completely supported in the angelic and higher energies. I also bring in dolphins and whales and I teach that so that you learn to be an energy master because everything is energy, everything. And so you can ask yourself, and this is Puddah, where do you get your energy from? Because if you're not getting it from source and you're not getting it from the earth, I'm sorry to say, you're probably draining it from someone else, which is kind of like being a vampire. It's not appropriate. And if you look around at the world, isn't that what most people are doing, is draining each other's energy? That's why they're tired and they're not getting the pure energy that they're intended to get. So source energy never runs out. It's a waterfall of love. Mother Earth's energy never runs out and your soul is eternal. So it seems pretty easy to me once you learn it to go back to that principle and do it every day. And then you have a completely different day because you're primed for anything that is going to come across your path. You have the answer already hidden inside of you. and it's always going to be loving. You'll always have a kind word for someone.
I think that is very important. And I know that I hold that image of the whole world actually understanding that and living it. And I think we're seeing it more and more. And we know that the people who are enjoying this conversation is part of that and helping others achieve that as well. So that is beautiful.
Yeah.
So, Laurie, I want to talk right now about the channeling. You've got a channeling course coming up that allows people to even go deeper in this channeling process. And it is with Seth, Master Cat Puddah. And
Yes.
Seth, share with us about that.
Okay. Well, it's a 4-week course that we're holding on Thursdays. And of course, you don't have to physically be in the class to take it because we have a replay page. You can access it and see the classes that way too. They're equally effective. But Seth has taught me to channel, basically to be a universal channel, to open my crown chakra with permission and ask to communicate with other beings. And it started out with me communicating with the higher being that's Puddah's higher self, okay, which encouraged me to talk more to my higher self and encouraged me to bring in different angelic frequencies when they would approach. Like, for example, I do a lot of session work with people. And so because I'm intuitive or telepathic, I can talk to their guides. And once in a while, one of their guides will come in and say, we need to bring in Archangel Haniel, or let's bring in Archangel Zadkiel. Or I just worked with a client yesterday and we needed to bring in Archangel Ariel to give some advice. So I do that and I pass that on to them. And so that's one of the things you'll learn to do, is open to specific frequencies that will approach you. And then, of course, you have to give permission for them to come in and work with them. But what a gift to be able to commune with the angelic realm, and to be able to use that in your life, or to be able to use that frequency to pass it to someone else to help them. It's not as hard as you think it is. And the reason I know that is not just from what I just shared, but I'm also the creator of the Whale and Dolphin Energy Medicine School. And my students, when we first started, they all were afraid that they wouldn't be able to hear the whales' voices. You know, when the whales are working on someone and they want to give a message to the client at the end of the healing session, but everyone can do it. I mean, they've all just deep sigh, because we worked, enough in class to open them up, to introduce them to the whales. And now we're working with ascended dolphins as well. And they're hearing the voices. If the being wants to work with you and you want to work with them, and you've opened the crown and you've activated your third eye, you're in your heart, it's going to flow. It's going to flow. It's your God-given right to communicate with other beings. And I understand that some people have fear of a dark being might come in. But if you follow the processes that we just taught, of unity breath and connecting to the divinity of the earth herself and of the sun, no dark beings can approach that. No, or you for that matter. Okay? So you don't have anything to worry about unless that's something that you've created in the past and you're not quite sure how to get rid of it. Well, always back to the heart. Because any kind of darkness that's manipulative or harmful is simply a brother or sister who's kind of lost. Okay? Doesn't mean they're not created in light. It doesn't mean they're not loved. It means they've just stepped off the path. And maybe it's not your job to forgive them, but it is your job to honor them as another brother or sister that's just on their path or on their journey home. And for so many of them that you don't think you can help them, then you avoid them. You come back to the neutrality. And Master Puddah says, give those beings back to God, because God knows what to do. God knows how to help them. And as they journey on their path, they will find the help that they need. It may not be you. It says you're not here for everybody, okay? And that's true for all of us, right? We have our past to follow. But you have to take care of you first. And you have to hold the vibration that's really impenetrable by any kind of darkness. And do it with a smile on your face, because, nothing can harm you. One of the metaphors I teach is, and it comes through Cryon, is imagine yourself in a room, and all of a sudden there's another wall. So the one room becomes 2 rooms. There are no windows, but there is one door between the 2 rooms. One room is filled with God's light and your light. The other room is filled with darkness and hatred, manipulation. Open the door between the 2 rooms, and what happens? The light flows in to the darkness every time. Not sometimes, every time. Light overtakes darkness and permeates and shifts it, changes it. So if you hold that vision and you're the light, then you're changing the world everywhere you go. Even just by sitting in your chair, you're offering a vibration of coherence to the world. It's rippling out. Some people have a coherence layer through their Merkaba, Puddah would say about 110 miles. You're really affecting the whole city just by being loving, sitting in your chair. How about that? Imagine if you got up and went out and, did something with it in the sense of the physical world. We have more power than you realize. All you have to do is take care of it and use it wisely. Okay? So best advice.
Yeah, that is the power of love. Yeah, the power of love. Well, thank you, Laurie. I am putting in our chat a link for folks to see where they can learn more and register for that course. And we invite everyone to do that.
Yeah. And we'll be channeling your higher self. We'll be channeling your guides, angels, Master Puddah, your animals, a variety of beings, so that you can feel the power in your ability to channel, not just one being, but many beings. And we're going to have a lot of fun.
I can imagine a world where people really are tuned into that. They're tuned into the heart and tuned into others. And it really is how we become telepathic.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Channeling is a form of telepathy. It's one being's essence being shared with another being's essence through permission, where you both give permission for that. And you both now have created something greater than you could have done separately. So information rises up from that perspective. I think I had something here. Let's see. From Puddah, yeah. Many times throughout the ages, kings, queens, and mystics, spiritual leaders have received the celestial channeled messages of empowerment to assist others. So at this time in Earth's history, Master Puddah suggests that each and every one of us has the ability to do this, to bring in the information and the love of another soul to share it with others. So if you think of it that way, it's really self-empowerment at its finest. It expands your consciousness, allows you to receive messages that can not only just benefit you, but can benefit humanity. We've had people take the course and then go out and write a book or create a class and, assist others in their coaching practice. And most importantly, I think it's all about getting to know your own guides and angels better and really feeling the love that they have for you. So, yeah, I think you think about books that have been channeled that you like. Well, the first one I think most people know is the Bible. The Bible was channeled. So, you stop and think about what you could do if you would write and channel. Imagine the books that you could create or projects that would be channeled. So
there would be some who just would question, this is the ego coming in. What do I have to write about? But I guess you could say, let those beings who want their information to come forward to come to you.
Well, the ego, again, is another word for the mind. And if you're in your mind, you're not going to get anything. You're just going to sit there and spin in that I can't do it energy. So this has to come through the heart. It has to come through the higher beings and the higher self, which cannot be contacted through the mind. It has to come from the heart. Heart is the key and love is the answer. So, and anybody, we're created in love. So don't tell me you can't feel love, because I know you can. You might have to go out and sit on the beach for a while, but we can break through, right? Always break through to love.
Always break through to love.
Yeah.
I want to share your personal story, because with the dolphins and the whales, you have had an amazing time. So I'm going to share the screen.
Here I'm in Cancun. I was attending a cryon conference where Master Puddah and I were doing our whale and dolphin healing sessions. And then we went to see Donna Kasowitz in Dolphin Discovery, which is there in Cancun.
Yes.
And these are 3 of their dolphins that were very excited to meet me. This is me there in Cancun. I'm standing next to Dr. Todd Ovakaitis, holding on to Master Puddah. This is me with Lee Carroll, who channels cryon. We've been friends for many years. This is just a great shot of Puddah. Someone took it and sent it to me. I thought it was nice. This is her doing her work. When we open up the sacred space and start the healings, she lays right up on your body. She's working to open this lady's heart. And this is me with Dr. Todd Ovakaitis, and he's holding our crystal skull, Altazar, which was a part of the pineal tones. We're at a rehearsal, I think. This would have been back in 2011, because the first pineal choir was sung in Maui, December 21st, 2012. And the other people around me are also there learning the tones. And we're rehearsing them basically to sing in Maui. And this is Puddah in Laguna Beach. We're on the Awakening Codes radio show. We've been on a number of times. And this is Eric Rankin, and he really likes Puddah, as you can see. He's inviting her to come right into the booth.
And it's interesting because this is our connection. Again, Michelle Anderson is also part of the Awakening Code Radio.
Yes, of course.
And she is part of our Lemurian Heart Temple with Shirley Irene. Yes, yeah. Okay.
All right, this is very special because I'm holding a mastermind group that Seth leads us. And again, for those that don't know, when I say Seth, I'm talking about the higher self of Master Cat Puddah. And she's just looking cute. We're taking a break. And so I took a picture of her, and then I took a second picture, and she beamed out of the room, which is one of her gifts. She actually ended up on the roof of my home, but you can actually, the camera caught the spin of the Merkaba as she beams out of the room. This is quite a magical picture. I've always felt grateful that she let us do that, because people don't really believe, that we have these gifts. And of course she does, and she's teaching us. She's been beaming out of the room since she was a kitten. She just doesn't like it. She's out.
That is
to beam herself into the garage or down on the street, and I'm like, no, go back inside. So this is, it's special. It's real. And it's not something that we necessarily see because we're not acclimated to it,
And we're not watching.
I mean, you're not, and again, I did not see this with my physical eyes. I just saw her not be there. I heard her disappear. Then 5 seconds later, I hear her meowing from outside. So I go outside on my patio, and she's on the roof.
She's on the roof.
Yeah, she does that all the time. You should know that. She likes to go on the roof, and other people's roofs too. So, a few pictures of her doing her magic. You don't see the whales, of course, but the whale energy is around this person, moving the codes of creation around and restoring their DNA. And they're listening to one of my meditations, and the Andara crystals are on the body. So it's a very special healing that we do, and we've traveled quite successfully with it. And of course, we do it long distance here at the house all the time. So if you can see where the feet of the person is, there's a little TV tray, very much like she's laying on right now, a stool. And so when the person's lying down and I'm pulling the sheet over them, she's already leaping onto the body. And then at the end, I have to take her off. She won't get off on her own. She doesn't ever think 30 minutes is enough, Even when people come here for 90-minute healings, I have to pull her off. She's dedicated. She's done many, many sessions in one day, and she doesn't seem to get tired. I take her away to feed her and, of course, use the restroom, but she comes right back up to her stool or her chair, and she's like, next. Been doing this for a number of years, and you can see she is in different positions, using her body in different ways with the people. And it's so much fun to hear what the people say afterwards about what they experienced. And I had a lady recently, she said, how did she turn me over and do all the karate chops on my back? And I went, I don't know. We didn't see that here, She said, no, she had me floating up on the table, and she was chop, chop, chop on my back. And this is Migaloo. This is the whale that we summoned to come and work with us energetically when we're doing the whale healing. Beautiful whale. Up in the San Juan Islands, we did an orca retreat 3 years ago, and these beautiful orcas came. Actually, a lot of them, but here we got 3 of them. Came to the boat and entertained us and played, and what a delight! They're so beautiful, so powerful. We don't often see orcas in the wild here in Southern California. Once in a while, but you'd have to stay on the radio basically with the captain, and then run out and get the car and get out there, because they usually, when they're here, are just passing through. They're migratory patterns really are around the Washington State area, British Columbia, Vancouver areas, mainly where we see them. So this is where we are up by the San Juan Islands. And a number of years ago, we formed an organization called Dolphins Love Kids. Then we created a nonprofit, board of directors and all of that. It's pretty much been shut down this year, of course, because of the boat trips. But other than this year, we've been very active. And if you donate to our program, the money is used to put kids on the boats to go out and see wild and free dolphins. And we've been 6 years, I think, working out of Dana Point in San Diego, taking the kids and the teenagers out. And basically we have a group meeting, and I talk to them about communication with whales and dolphins, and tell them that I'm an animal communicator, and I teach them a couple of processes. And then we get on the boat, and I tell them when they get off, I'm going to ask them what the dolphin said to them. Then we get off, and they say the most amazing things that the dolphins have shared with them. And then they color a card of gratitude for the person that bought. This is a group shot. All of those kids were gifted with, someone else bought their seat, basically. The parents buy their own seats. but the kids and the teens go free. And so then we send the card of gratitude wherever the person is in the world. So, and here
That's
they are
wonderful.
afterwards. They're holding some of them, the colored pictures that they made, which we collect, and then send to the person that gave them their seed. So it's a full circle, and it teaches them about gratitude. This was during the Cetacean Summit, and we had 2 boats. So we were able to photograph some of the kids on one boat because we had too many people to put them on one boat. We had 2 boats. And look at the dolphin right out in front. It's very rewarding, not just for the kids, for the parents too, And if there's a kid, we've had some groups. We always contact the homeless shelters and, the Ronald McDonald House and different places like that. In December each year, we do one, of course, with Santa Claus, and everybody gets a gift from Santa at the end of the boat trip. So it's really fun.
Wow.
Mm.
So when you ask them to be getting messages from the whales and dolphins, can you recall what they got? Did they share?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. I can think of some good ones. Okay. Our vice president right now is Vivian Lauderdale, and she's brought her grandkids out for years. And, I can think of her little grandson. He's probably about 8 now. He got off the boat. He grabbed the microphone and he said, "The dolphins told me to never, ever, ever say a bad word." Turns out that he'd been learning bad words and saying them at home. Another little boy said to me, "The dolphins told me that they could help me with my homework because I think it's hard sometimes. If I would just ask them, they would help me." So, and another older boy, he told me that Puddah and the dolphins had told him, because Puddah was on the trip, that he should audition for his school play, and he was really shy. And he said, "Okay, I will." And then Puddah said, "But you're not auditioning for the right part." And he said, "How do you know?" And she said, "I know everything." So he said, "Well, what part do you think I should audition for?" And the dolphin said, "The lead part, of course." So he got the lead, and it changed his life because he's very confident now. He came and spoke at one of our gatherings, and he's not the shy little boy anymore. He stands up and speaks like an actor, and someone with confidence. And he said he's got friends now. He's more popular in school, and he feels good about himself because he did it. Isn't that great?
That is really cool. Thank you for sharing that. We get to know and understand you a little bit better. Laurie, this has been a beautiful time with you. Thank you so much for being here. Is there anything else that you'd like to share to recap our message today?
This is a little statement that Puddah and I wrote together for classes, and it basically says your perception is your reflection. Okay, remember that your perception of the world is a reflection of your state of consciousness. You are not separate from it. Every moment, your consciousness creates the world that you inhabit. So metabolism is a vibrational response to your moment in time. Metabolism is the way the energy is moving through your body. And so everything is in response to the way you feel. Everything is mind over matter. Every disease is mental first before it becomes possible to clear it. Everything passes through thought at one point in its creation. Everything is always about vibration, and everything is about the way you feel. And where do you feel? From your heart. Practice scenarios that feel good, and never mind what others say is their reality. Reality is only a brief moment in time that can acknowledge the potentiality that keeps repeating itself. You have been taught that your reality is not real, and I am here to tell you that it is not in the sense of the third dimension. It is an illusion. So I ask you again to repeat your perceptions as you go through your day and know that this is a reflection back to you of where your vibration is. So always come back to the heart and know that this is where the reflection that you're seeking wants to be. And so if the perception of the reflection is less than loving, that's a sign that you're back in your mind and you want to stop right away and stop repeating that. Just move right back into love. Okay? So hopefully that's helpful. And then Seth said, let's make the year 2021 the year that you embody your divine power. Let's make it the one where you open to new possibilities and activations outside of what you're seeing in 3D. Make it one where you have experienced and prepared for this moment to come to a reality that brings you joy, that brings you visibility and your own brilliance, your own creativity, and coming into leadership and power by tapping into the courage, the resilience, the daring, and the faith it takes to live from the heart. So thank you for being a part of our world, and know that we love and support you.
Beautiful messages. Thank you for sharing those.
You're welcome.
High vibrational ones. Yes, yes. Cool. Thank you, Laurie. Accelerate your connection to channeling your guides and higher self, animals, and all things with Laurie Reyon's 4-session course. You can join live or with the replays. You need not be present. Find the link on this webpage for more information. You can also visit newearth1.com/now Laurie. Laurie. New Earth One Network is a community-supported network. Purchases on this website not only support you, but your community, as the light that you raise in yourself indeed radiates out to the community. It also supports the teachers who bring this information. Plus, we give a portion of our proceeds to support children in the highlands of the Andes through the Pasquet organization. Proceeds from this network have built a greenhouse in the Highland Andes for a local school, offering a supply of healthy organic food for school lunches. And over the years, we've supported a young adult as she graduated from school and focused on her career in tourism. These proceeds have also helped us create sustainable businesses in Peru, such as this chicken farm, which helped create an income for a family in need. We thank you for your purchases at New Earth One Network. Together, we are New Earth. Join our New Earth membership to join our Zoom audience on the pre-recordings of this Now show. You'll also join our after party where you can ask your questions of our guests. Scroll down on this webpage to learn more.